YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. We've got the SU-27, and boy, is this thing feature packed. We have seen similar to this. You may recognize it. It looks very similar to a previous version, and you may notice some full functioning televators, which is super cool. We have the air brake, tons of ordnance, oleo, spring-loaded, all three landing gears. We've got landing lights, which we'll showcase once this thing's batteried up. And this thing is just amazing. Runs on 6S, 5,000, and I'm running mine on 50 and 100C today. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned and watch. YouTube, it's Brad Phillips still. What happened? It changed colors. This is so cool. Look at this. We've got the J-11, which is the Chinese licensed version of the SU-27. Amazing. Everything else equipped the same way with spring-loaded oleos on all three gear. Huge cheaters, twin 70 EDFs. And look at the sweet livery on this thing. So I cannot wait to fly these things for you on 6S. 5,000 milliamp packs. We're gonna do 50C and 100C flights hopefully today. And this one does have the AR-637T because we wanted to have full telemetry on this one. And then this one we have AR-631. And I just wanna show you before we even take off where we situated the batteries. You can see this has a 637T. It went together super easy. Had no problems with these things. As you can see, they both have the air brake. This one happens to be deployed right now. And same thing here, we're gonna run on Gen 2 5050s, and that's the AR-631. So we're gonna have less telemetry on this. We are not gonna have pack voltage levels, but we are on the J-11. So we're gonna start with the Chinese J-11, and then we're gonna come back and follow up with the SU-27. Super excited, stay tuned. So as you can see, we got our pack voltage here, 25.2 volts, which is super handy. And basically this thing doesn't come equipped with avian ESCs, even though we're using Spectrum Smart Receiver. So if you decide you want to try to add thrust reverse, just keep in mind that twins are sort of a questionable thing right now with avians. So let's go ahead and do it. We're gonna back taxi. This thing feels juicy and powerful. And this will be our first jet flight without power lines, so we're super excited to be bringing this to you. This is our true Maiden. Let's get up here by the edge. Megan? 2 sides. Okay. Let's see if the turning radius is good enough. Oh, it just sounds fantastic. Very bright LEDs. Hopefully this gray doesn't disappear with the sky. And guys, without further ado, gotta show you the air brake first. Absolutely fantastic. All right, here we go, getting into it. Control surfaces are alive. Gear up. 50% throttle. Relaxing into our first flight. AS3X has this thing locked in. Granted, it's pretty calm. Up and over. Oh, yes! Okay, out of the throttle. Respecting my battery. Camera crew's good there. We're gonna rudder over and just show you that the twin rudders work well. Oh yeah! Kind of a lower roll rate than I expected for a jet. Straight up, flatten out. And we're gonna bring it into straight with the runway here. Rudder in the nose down. Very good visibility, actually, I'm surprised. Okay, here's safe. So this is with safe, folks. So I'm out of the controls, up. Look at that thing glide along just perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do one circuit with safe. I hate to waste my time with this. 1 minute remaining. But yeah, that's pretty good bank angles. This safe is actually working out perfect with this. Okay, out of safe into the AS3X. We're gonna deploy the gear. Guys, one thing about these jets you gotta remember is you don't get very much flight time. Okay, camera crew, we good on traffic?
Yes.
Nose light really helps. And we're full up on ordnance. That'll be a touch and go. Oh yeah! Gear going up. We're gonna be into our countdown on our 3-minute timer. Now, you might be surprised that we're ending our flight so prematurely, but just remember, that was about 50% stick input. So just real quick, we'll do a circuit back. That's our timer elapsing right now for 3 minutes. As you can see, she's got plenty of power to do what you want, but you do have to build up your power a little bit. And the thing is, these are twin 70s, so I do not want to destroy it and puff my packs. Okay, so the gear coming out, using the rudder to control the nose around, just letting it relax into a final. About 10% throttle out of the throttle now, we're just gonna relax it. Using the rudder to align with the runway. A little bit of wind at our nose there. And a hard flare because the wind kicked from the right. That was a pilot error. And as you can see, not a terrible rollout. It's actually pretty good. Oh. For ball bearings, I figured we'd have a massive rollout. Although the wind might have helped us, and boy, that wind was cold.
Yes, it is.
So guys, look at the new windsock too real quick. As you can see, we switch those out. Okay, come back to the plane there, cam crew. Just wanted to show you guys, we do have very light wind here. Haven't adjusted off of my 50% setting on our knob, the right knob. And that's where we control our master gains for AS3X, and we're at 1X right now. And what an absolute beauty. Let's get low and show them the ordnance and everything. By the way, I gotta say, this thing sounds amazing. And we were at 22.4 volts. I feel like we could go a little bit longer, but I don't want to tempt fate. So why don't we go ahead and put the XBC on there and just verify what we're getting for telemetry readings. Because right now at 22.6 volts on a 6S, idle is actually pretty dang good still. So what you can do too is, if you're curious on these smart ESCs, or excuse me, not on smart ESCs, on your smart transmitters, there used to be a screen where you could go and you could see the individual cells, but that only works when you're using your smart ESCs. So I definitely like that screen, even if it just does the math and it just divides the total. I believe you can turn that on in the telemetry screen. But we're gonna show you in the unbox build radio setup all the settings we did for this. I didn't even use the air brake on that landing. Oh man, we're gonna have to do that.
Well, can you do it on the other one?
Well, no, we gotta do it on this one.
Okay.
Right now without switching batteries.
Okay.
Okay guys, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna push it out there. I'm gonna use the best tugs tug called me. Okay, here we go. Whoops, turned it wrong. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. We're gonna take off, and then we're gonna do this. We're gonna go around and take a landing, because like honestly, the landing was super smooth and easy. Okay, gear coming up. What you guys can't tell is I just had my lanyard tangled on my, okay, you good? Full ordnance, by the way. Oh, that looks so sweet. I won't be flying with full ordnance again. I think I'm gonna be done with that and just wingtips. Okay, gear coming out. Out of the throttle. You can hear those gear from all the way back here. It's so cool, and yet totally unnecessary, and still really stinking cool. And yes, definitely a little bit squirrely on the ground. I'm actually getting it done okay. I feel like I could probably do a lot better on my landings there, because look how far that rolled out that time, and I don't like being exposed. We have very, very, very low traffic on this road. If you're coming down this road, it's because you're visiting the dead or you are dead. So that's how we get away with it. Not everybody has that opportunity. Plus it's early.
Yeah.
Man, that thing looks so sweet. So folks, I gotta say, the thing handles well in the air. It handles well. It's just, I don't want the drag of the ordnance. I think I wanna take it all off. Listen to that beauty. Definitely a slight disparity in my trim from in the air to the ground, which is why you may have noticed me jank it on the ground a couple of times. And that's not uncommon on these. Look how narrow the wheelbase is on this plane compared to the overall size of the aircraft. It is a big aircraft. It's very long. It's almost as long as me. And it's not especially wide, but it is just definitely a big plane. So loving the way that it handled that. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. Look. Oh, we've seen it again now. Look, we've got a green screen. That means puke or something. Oh. So I don't know if that's like a warning for voltage. I think that's what it is. Yep, it's a voltage warning. That is so cool. So anyway, guys, if you haven't updated your firmware to the latest and greatest, which is 3.0717, I think, then you might want to get out and do that. Remember, it's at spectrumrc.com, and then you actually navigate to another website. The login for Spectrum RC is different than the login for this stuff, unless you set the same stuff. So anyway, guys, this thing is awesome. The day bright LEDs are definitely visible from distance. The nose lights are helpful. They do get blocked by the drooping nose if you're coming in level, but if you've got a flare on it, it's perfect. Also, I feel like the landing gear were soft and supple enough with the oleos and the springs that you can put it down and not have terrible bands. Now, I didn't do a great job of it, but the thing is, I think the plane is totally capable of coming down super smooth. Love that. Also want to say that the air brake, while it's really cool, I don't necessarily feel like you need flaperons, and so I didn't set them up. Now, why did I not set them up? Because I've done it before and it wasn't effective on this particular plane. You can do it. It's definitely doable. All you have to do is just make some decisions on your receiver. Instead of using the 637T, you can do an 8360T, which is going to give you the ability to potentially set up flaperons here and then televons, and you can do some really cool things. But just keep in mind, when you're in the Spectrum realm with a Spectrum receiver and not necessarily beholden to the reflex limitations, you can do that. But you are going to have to cut some servo leads. So definitely pay attention in the unbox build radio setup. We talk about that at the end of the build. We only built this one on the build, but the radio setup, I literally copied it and renamed the file for that one, except we use the 631. So it's almost exactly the same. Now the 631 has top plugs, and so I did find it a little bit harder to plug in than this one. The 637T is an end plug. If you go with a 630, you'll have end plugs, but you'll lose the antenna. So that's definitely something to consider. Now, is this thing a crazy powerhouse? I don't think so. Is it underpowered? I don't think so either. This is not underpowered like the F-18 that we've experienced. The F-18 I felt like just needed more juice. Now you could get that F-18 moving, but you almost had to lose altitude to really get up to speed to do maneuvers. This one just takes a little bit of space to get going. Also, it took a long time to get off the ground. I think that's from the added drag from the ordnance. I would definitely fly with at least the wingtip ordnance, but you can take all of them off. So on our next flight, which is going to be with this one here, the SU-27, we're going to fly that. We're going to take off all the ordnance except for the wingtips. Or should we do at least one flight with the ordnance?
I don't know. I would just take them off if you wanted.
Okay, we'll take them off. We'll leave the wingtips on. And that's just basically if you get one of those where it tips forward like the F-16 loves to do. So guys, really good plane. Definitely not a beginner plane. It's not a hard plane to fly. In terms of jets, it's just probably middle of the road, I would say. In terms of capabilities, without going to a full functioning televator, which I do feel like the televators would help a little bit with the roll rate. Also, because this is an FMS plane, you could technically overdrive your servos a little bit, I believe. I chose not to do that because I felt like the roll rate was good. It was easy to control. And also, I might actually turn my gain up just a little teeny bit. I felt like when I was coming out of my final base leg, I felt like I get a little bit wonk on me, but it was probably just that increasing wind. Now, that being said, it's pretty calm right now. So keep that in mind when you're judging this plane from this video. So we're gonna pause, get that one fired up, and come right back. Okay, so just so full disclosure, we pulled that one out of the J-11. Whoops, sorry. Okay, so we're at 9%, guys. 3.66 volts per cell. And the puffage level is probably about where it was. This pack was not perfect before, but it definitely, you wouldn't want to push it much further. So I reset my timer for the SU-27 to 4 minutes. Now I'm gonna respect the timer this time because at 4 minutes, I think you're really gonna be pushing it, even with these smart packs. So Anyway, wish me luck. Okay, so I meant to show how easy it was to load the batteries in here because we've explained this before. On some planes, it's hard to load batteries, and you would think, how big of a deal is it to load a battery, Brian? It can be a difference between flying and not flying in my experience. So as you can see, it's quite easy to load in. This strap got glued, okay? All the rest of my 3 straps did not get glued. Oh my goodness, look straight up. Look at those birds. That's awesome. We should go and circle with them. Okay, so continue with the filming of the video. Okay, so we see this strap here is just on the very tip, and then it's butted into the back here. Now this is a Gen 2 6S. This is a 50C. I do have a 100C. I don't even know if we're gonna make it to them today because it's just so cold. And then you'll notice that all the wires and everything are very clean and easy. And if you guys stay tuned to the Unbox Build Radio setup, which usually publishes right before the Maidens, then you can see exactly what we did to accomplish that. Definitely really like this plane. It's an amazing looking plane. It's a good flying plane. It's easy to load the batteries. It's easy to get the CG right. If you just put your battery in that position, you're gonna be satisfied. And then the other thing too, I must say, is that the ordnance that comes with it is pretty sweet, but again, I'm gonna pull it off on this flight so you guys get a shot with both styles. And plus this blue should pop with this type of sky. That one has differentiation from color on the top to the bottom, which makes a big difference. I'm a little bit nervous this one's gonna disappear worse than we think. And that does tend to happen in cloud skies like this. You'll get a blue plane will actually sometimes disappear worse than a gray plane, and you won't believe me until you see it. But sometimes when you get this thing backlit, because the sun is over here, that will actually disappear and you'll have orientation issues. That's where SAFE comes in really handy. Even though I'm not flying this with SAFE, we know that it's there if we need it, so it's pretty cool. Okay guys, the landing gear on here are sweet. We just got our ordnance off. Look at the action on the mains. Amazing. Looks totally sweet. And then as you can see, everything works really nice. And look how beautiful those things are. Just amazing, spring loaded on all 3 of them, and looks super, super realistic. So guys, without further ado, we're gonna take this thing off. It's gonna be amazing. And without the power lines, this is our first sorties flying without power lines down here where it really matters.
That's nice.
And even though we didn't bury them for this reason, that's a pretty cool advantage. So here we go. Love the sound. Sounds like a legit jet. Okay, now we're flying with less ordnance this time, so we're hoping for a pretty good outcome. I am gonna reset my timer to 4 minutes, even though we did a little bit of screwing around here. Just getting in position, clearing my timer. I got 4 minutes on it, and here we go. Oh yeah, out of the gear. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that thing pops. Do have a little bit of roll going on. Couple clicks of trim to resolve that. I hope that's good enough. Look at this, watch this, right where the power lines would have been. It's so sweet. Oh, that is so cool. Gotta love it, folks. Okay, coming around. Okay, let's try some slower flight. Going down the run, we got 2 minutes 46 left on the timer. I'll tell you what, the biggest problem with these jets is that your time flies, quite literally. We're gonna try slow flight for you. Air brake deployed, that was so cool. By the way, that air brake is a retract, so you don't need to slow it down. Just a fast acting switch is fine. Definitely still have roll going on. I'm getting ticked off about it. I want to get rid of that roll here, guys. Guys, I gotta say, I kind of love the way this thing's flying. It's got good ups, it's not perfect. Hope this thing films better than the gray. I'm guessing the gray was pretty rough. I'm getting into it a little harder on the controls this time. You can definitely edge your roll rate up just a little bit with your rudders, but you're not gonna look as clean. Wait until the last second to pull out. Oh yeah, baby, that is so sweet. Okay, and then up. And we're gonna come back down kind of the same way we came, obviously. And here we go. Whoa, shibbity balls. Yeah, so that just happened. Yeah, one of the televons almost certainly stuck. So we're gonna go see what happened and then we'll give you guys a report. And that thing hit hard. I should have laid it down on the ground. I was coming in, I had a perfect flare right into ground effect. If I would have just put it down on the ground, it would have been saved. But anyway, live and learn. Carnage and death time.
Oh man.
It's pretty bad, guys. Yeah, I don't think the pilots survived. Look, the missile, we've got a nose cone over there. The battery took a beating, you know.
Looks better than my thumb.
Yeah, but we might have damage. We might be okay. It's kind of hard to tell. I hate it when this happens, guys. And look at the telebon, stuck still. Yep, that is an unfortunate thing. Of course, the receiver got saved. And, but I would say this thing's probably, it just killed the nose. So like you could take off the wings and save everything else if you wanted to. But anyway, it was really pretty right before it hit the ground. And let's see if we can reverse engineer what happened. Oh, look.
What?
Look at that.
Oh.
Well, that's always kind of nice.
Do you suppose?
That must have ripped out.
Was that from the crash though?
It's possible, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and we have a crack here too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing, I can't tell if it ripped out. It sure didn't feel like it was gonna rip out earlier. This one's intact, but you can see it's locked back. And what happened was it just got full input and just rolled, and it kind of reminds me of the last time I lost one of these. All right, guys, that's what you get. Stay tuned. You can see how we built it at least. All right, guys, so we were just outside. We obviously just crashed the SU-27. And so what we wanted to do is just show you, after a crash, this is something I like to do, and you guys might like to do too. I mean, it always sucks. We're reviewing a new release and then we crash it. I don't think I crashed it. I think I was flying when it crashed. And that's a tough thing to say because we obviously want you guys to buy these planes because we think they're awesome, but there was definitely something went wrong on this plane. That missile broke. We're just gonna go through the damage. These ones were all fine because we didn't have them on, we just had this one on. Okay, so that one would go there, so that'll get fixed. The canopy actually almost survived unscathed. Of course, you'd have to use some hot water to fix that, and the paint's gonna get damaged. The nose took the brunt of the damage. As you can see, we kind of pieced back together the cone. This thing's just set on there. Obviously that tip is never, it's the first thing that gets broke on every plane anyway. And then the battery was somewhat protected, and we just have only a very superficial damage on the back end of the battery. And just to show you, we always check batteries after an accident to make sure that we don't have some large fire hazard. And as you can see, this is gonna come up and show us that the cells are in good shape. And just real briefly, kind of manipulating that spot to make sure we don't have any exposure and we're not gonna release a bunch of lithium gas. Okay, so that's an important thing to do. Now, the reason we have this battery out is I wanna recreate the situation if we can. We're still bound. Obviously, the J-11 gave us no problems in that regard, but it was a different plane. Now, also, I just wanted to point out that the ventral fins came off. There was like literally no damage, which is, you know, ironic. Okay, so what I wanna do is I wanna energize this, and we're gonna pay attention to what happened possibly. I don't even know if this is gonna arm because it's upside down, but we're gonna try. Okay, throttle cut is on. Okay, we're gonna see what other surfaces got damaged. These both moved free. Now we can see that this, I believe what happened is that this potentially may have yanked out of that, okay? Because if you look at that, there looks to be no threads on the end.
Oh.
So I don't know if we got a defective length here, but I would say that it's probably smart to double check that. Now, obviously in the build, we didn't film this one, but we did obviously work on it. Oh, and then look, there's some damage here as well. See this? That got knocked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that would be something that you would just have to take a screwdriver or whatever and pull that back out. And then there was a small crack. I thought I saw a small crack, like right here. There's a hairline crack, a little damage here. So it actually fared better than I thought for a straight down nose. Let's try the gear. I bet the nose gear is probably broken. That is incredible. Oh, that's what this is. There was a small ring of plastic and I couldn't figure out what it was.
What is that
That
from?
was from the landing gear right here, the grass cutter.
Oh, I was trying to figure out what that was too.
Okay, so we've got good retracts. That is crazy. The light broke off of one of the mounts.
But the clip is still somewhere. I picked up a plastic clip.
No, that looks like it's glued, hun. That's glued. That's just glue broke.
Yep.
And then obviously our gear door will be a bit of a concern. And then this thing just got curled in and then you can see the large, robust reinforcement. So basically, when you're talking about a plane that gets crashed, you always want to know what went wrong, because what went wrong will help you from having it went wrong again. I can't help but think this thing yanked out, but I want to know why.
Can you take that other one off and see if it's threaded all the way to the end?
I don't think that's what happened. I think this got trapped somehow. I think this got trapped, and I wanna dissect this and figure it out. Because on Brian Phillips RC, I own crashes that I cause because I do a lot. I don't think this one was me. I think this one might have been the plane. And I would love to be corrected on that, because it's, you know, it's not just a pride thing. I think there's something that got caught. Okay, so I'm gonna take off, well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave that and I'll take off the screw on the other side. I think it'll be easier. Okay, so 2 millimeters right here. So guys, if you get this expensive plane and it is sweet, I'm still like super disappointed that we lost this one. Fortunately for us, we have another one sitting right there that I can keep loving. And then this one, of course, could be fixed to a flyable condition, I believe, fairly easy. Well, that's kind of hard to get that screw out. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to look at this. I don't see any there's a little bit of a line there. But what my theory is that it caught somehow, either on this or on that, and that prevented it from going up and down. And then that's what locked, because it actually would have been locked. Hold on, let's talk about this and see if we can figure this out. Oh, the screw fell down again. The screw, are you gonna show so that they can see what I'm talking about? See this screw? That screw fell down again. So I'm gonna actually pull that screw out real quick. That's a 2 millimeter drive. Okay. So we'll just slide this back in. See, that thing is allowed to spin free too. So if you're having trouble getting your bolts lined up, that's what you gotta check on. So I think that something got caught. And then when I adjusted the elevator position, it yanked this out. Like it was strong enough to yank it out, because that is a pretty strong 13 gram Metal Gear servo, okay? Now the other thing is, let's go ahead and line this up with the point. So trade sides, see where this is? That's where that's supposed to be, okay? So I'm gonna get my ball link pliers and see if we can reattach this and see what happens, because truthfully, I wanna know what went wrong for my own curiosity's sake, but I know you guys wanna know before you would make a purchase decision, probably on this particular model. You wanna make sure that it was a fluke. And these things are nice, except they're too thick and they almost never seem to fit behind the doohickey. This one's easy enough to break off of there though. Okay. Come on now. Let's see if I can do it this way. I can never seem to get around them. See, there it is. Okay, so this might be the culprit here. Okay, so we'll just study that real quick. Look inside that hole. And then we'll actually pull this off because there's nothing hurt by doing that. Oh man, that thing pulled out totally. So, you know how they say like the 10-cent part that crashed the $600 million space shuttle? Mm-hmm. Fortunately, this wasn't a $600 million space shuttle, but still. Because I had to adjust this to make it work. So let's go ahead and check the other one real quick. Got a piece of grass. I always think it's funny how the grass sticks in like that. I'm actually just gonna try doing the same thing. And we're gonna see what happened because I thought maybe it stuck. But I think I was wrong. Okay, so that popped off. Hey, that worked pretty good. Okay, so let's lift this up and let's show you the difference. Now remember, you don't really have any choice on where this goes exactly. I mean, you can potentially take this off and spline it back one, but then are you gonna get the same amount of play? I don't know, okay? I tend to think that something bound up that caused that to rip out. Sacrificial.
Are you just trying to pull it apart?
I'm trying to break it.
Just, yeah.
Okay, so guys, because we care about you on YouTube, our subscribers are awesome, and I don't want to break my thumbnail off. I've been talking about that a lot. Here, how about we do this? How about we do this? Let's load it in there and just see. I just want you guys to see how strong this is. I'm pulling. Now, I'm a strong guy. I can rip things apart. That did not rip out.
No.
Okay? I guarantee you that I am a lot stronger than that 13-gram servo. Okay? Because that thing puts out maybe a couple kilos of, not kilos, several grams of force. Maybe 1 point something kilos, which is about 2.5 pounds. There's no way. I mean, I'm putting 50, 60 pounds of pressure on this easily. And I'm trying to break it off and it's not breaking off. And I had the same adjustment point. I mean, it must have been within a thread or two.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I think we found out what went wrong with this plane. So I'm gonna suggest, okay, I'm actually quite relieved because here's the thing, guys. I don't think that servo was strong enough to rip this out. I think this was broken. I think this was bad. I think we just got a bad part, which really sucks. So anyway, FMS, check it out. But also guys, I just wanna say, I want to love this plane. And obviously I kinda hate this one, but only because this has happened. Something similar has happened to me on the last one I had, okay? But this one's perfect. I don't know why. I don't know how. I love it, and we got perfect flight with it. I just want you guys, if you buy this plane, and I think you should because it is an amazing plane, please do me a favor and check this thing. You may even think about just pulling this piece of stuff.
Well, if it's threaded all the way down, it should be fine, But
look, I'm just gonna show you the difference. I'm gonna thread this all the way on, guys. I wanna show you something, all the way on. You can't make the difference, okay?
Right.
Right? Well, actually, you're pretty dang close. No.
No, sure.
You're a whole ball off.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, watch this. Pliers, where did I put those? I put them away. Okay, so let's grab those back out. I'm gonna break this one again, okay? I'm gonna tell you there is a difference, okay? I wish I could put a scale on it and do this easily because that's what I do for a living is I run measurement systems. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this here. And I'm gonna go back a couple turns, okay? So you can see there's like, what, 2 threads exposed? Now watch how easy this breaks. That was easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't even remotely hard.
So what that tells me is that either the thread is compromised or the plastic was compromised. It's not impossible. And by the way, check this out, guys. Just for easy measure, okay? So check this out. Bad, good, okay? Let's look at the threads. Let's unthread this and just show you how it looks. Look at that. It's not tapered. It's not tapered. It's not tapered. See this? Look at that. It's not tapered, okay?
Yeah.
Good, bad. Watch. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Bad
Okay, let's see.
compared to good.
Yeah. No.
NTSB PRC. Oh, I hate having to do this as a public service, but at the same time, I'm going to do it as a public service. Check your linkage. I don't know why you should have to, but you know what? I am going to blame the linkage because I don't want to blame this plane. It's such a sweet plane. But I'll tell you what, guys, just remember when you're flying RC, anything can go wrong, and sometimes they do. But I still love it, and I still want to go fly again with that thing right now, which we might do. But guys, if you want to help support our channel, obviously I'm in mourning now. So if you want to send flowers in the form of buying that plane, if you buy this plane, I'm just going to implore you, please, please. It's going to be a huge mistake, and I know mistakes. Check these things on the back, especially. Now, if you lost an aileron, I don't think it's going to be nearly as catastrophic, first of all. And then I also have some other concerns because I feel like it's not completely impossible that the ground struck this, but if that happened, you would have seen a lot of damage on this surface. This Televon would have been damaged something fierce. I mean, it probably would have been bent, the shaft. So just keep that in mind when you're making your purchasing decisions. Now, let's come back to the J-11. Awesome plane, no problems, flew like a champion. So I don't know, maybe in this case, the Chinese copy was better. So definitely check the links in the video description. This plane is feature packed. And just because I had a complete massive failure due to a 10-cent part, I don't want you guys to hate on this plane too much, but we show it the way we find it on Brian Phillips RC. And we want you guys to understand that when things go sideways, it can be pretty sideways. So hopefully that answers your questions. And yes, you know, like if I had to do it over again, would I do it again? Oh yeah, because I like this plane a lot. Actually, I've done this plane 3 times now almost. But the last time it was called a little something different. It was called an SU-30, not an SU-27. So, but I really like that plane too. And I only got like 2 flights out of it. So anyway, guys, the J-11's your baby. Get it ordered and do it quick. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video. Please don't hate me for having things fail. But at the same time, when I crash a plane, I try to own up to it so you guys can know if I crashed it or if the plane crashed itself. This was Harry Carey, big time. So, but we did find, I believe, the true culprit. And to be honest with you, worse things have happened in life. It's still frustrating and I hate it when this happens. But at the end of the day, it is somewhat part of the hobby. Again, not a beginner plane. That is a very, very small problem that caused a larger symptom. So hopefully you learned something from our screw up or whatever you want to call that, what just happened. And hopefully you're still gonna love this plane when it's in your own hangar. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out the unbox build video setup. And by the way, we did change our flight time to 4 minute from 3 minute. So 4 minutes is a little bit more of what I would like to see out of a jet. Honestly, I'd like 5.5 minutes of flight time on these things, but we also didn't notice any puffing on the packs, which is huge because twin 70s, twin 50s, twin 64s, they pretty much always tend to puff packs. And in our case, we didn't puff them, but we also used a 50, and I think their minimum was a 45C recommendation, right?
I think so.
So anyway, and our manual was in Chinese, so forgive us. We did have to use Google Translate to actually translate some of the feature information. And so there was just a little bit more guesswork than usual. Also, we didn't have the Reflex V2 in these planes. So I am not 100% sure if that was just a Chinese thing because we got early samples, or if because, you know, they're not gonna have the Reflex V2. If they have the Reflex V2, remember we did run ours on 6 channel, but that was because we were using channel 7 and 8 for master gain and AS3X on, off, safe on. Which, by the way, safe did really help a lot, and it honestly would give you an out unless there's a mechanical failure like that. So just keep in mind, safe does not care about your mechanical failure. It still failed. So anyway, hopefully that answers lots of questions, probably more than you had when you started this video. And honestly, we really appreciate you guys. And guys, special thanks to FMS for sending these out for review and letting us be totally honest and truthful with you. They're a good company. They work with people when stuff like this goes. And I just want to let you guys know they're a good company. I like the J-11 a lot better though, just because I like the, you know, the navy finish. The livery on that is cooler in my opinion. I do like this too, and I guess that is a navy livery from over in Moscow or something like that. But I tend to like that color better. So it kind of did work out today. If I was gonna have a massive failure, I'd prefer to be on that one. So any thoughts, camera crew?
That's it.
Yeah, she's done filming. She's feeling sick, so anyway. Show us some love, buy this thing. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, and then also we'll link to the receiver we used, which is the AR637 and the 631. And then we'll link to the batteries that we used, which was the Gen 2 5000 50C6S, but we'll actually just link to like that size class. I think you could probably get a 7000 in there, but you're gonna have a hard time getting the CG, right? The CG was, you know, I felt like it was perfect. You had plenty of roll authority on landing. So much so that I felt like, you know, I felt like the air brake was like actually not necessary at all, but it's just so cool. You got to do it. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys.